Welcome back. I'm Ryan from Blue Gaming, and today I'm going to be going over my experience with the recent Darwin Project Alpha that I was able to take a part of. Now, before we get into this, the footage that you're seeing right here is not actually mine. It is from a YouTuber called Randomized User. You'll be able to find the link to the original video down below. But this leads us into the first problem that I found. This game doesn't exactly like to be recorded with onboard recording systems. That's GeForce Experience and AMD Relive. Both of those are apparently having some problems. I was only able to test it with GeForce Experience because that's what my graphics card is, but OBS seems to be working fine. The only reason why I don't have an OBS gameplay showing behind you is because I find that OBS doesn't record at high enough quality for me to be putting here on YouTube. So that's why you're seeing someone else's gameplay. Continuing on, I'm going to be talking about mostly negatives in this video, just because I think that talking about the things that need to be fixed is a lot more crucial at this stage in development than just talking about all the great stuff. And this video is getting sent off, so potentially being seen by Scavenger Studios, the people who make this game. I just realized I actually need to back up and talk a little bit about what this game actually is, as you probably haven't seen this game since the only actual footage that's been shown off before this is a little bit at E3 was shown off, but essentially, this is kind of a smaller scale Battle Royale. There's only 10 people. It requires you to do a little bit different gathering than the current Battle Royale games. In this, you already start out with a bow and a axe, but you don't go and find weapons. Instead, you find leather and wood so far. They could potentially add more, but I think that it actually works really well with how it's set up now. You then use that wood and leather to make a variety of things. It's anything from upgrades like a wool coat, which I'll talk about here in a bit, to more arrows, to enhance speed, all the way over to things like traps and cages, and actually an alliance banner, which I'll talk about here in a bit as well. Overall, I think that this system works amazingly. This is one of the things that I really like. On top of that, there is also a special slot in the game for a game director, which is kind of a person that gets to almost shoutcast the game, but I feel that he has a bit too much involvement, as he's able to buff individual characters. He's able to close down zones on the map, and he's able to just do too much. I think that he shouldn't be able to do as much as he's able to, as I actually found that in one of my games, the game director was a friend of one of the people playing and gave him an unfair advantage, allowing him to get farther in the game than he otherwise would have. I don't know if he ended up winning that game because I wasn't around to the end, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to, because the game director can give away things like invulnerability and can choose what zones close down, and just very game-changing things that gives one person a very big advantage if the game director wants to. And I just brought up zones a little bit, so I'll talk about the actual map. You can see the minimap down in the bottom left. To the left of the minimap, that reddish-orange bar is the health. The blue bar is your heat, which, because it's cold out, you actually have to build a fire or get a better coat, which you can see the character wearing, and that will either reduce the time or reduce how much cold you take, or the fire will warm you back up. And then down below the blue bar is a red bar that turns white. That is the stamina. Then in the middle of that is the map. There's only one map in this alpha. I don't know if they're expanding it to more maps. So far, this one works really well. I really like this map. I hope that they expand it to more, though, as playing the same map over and over and over again, given how small it is kind of a little disappointing. But you can see that the map is put into several sections. There is 7 sections in total. As time goes on and the game kind of grows closer to the end, it shuts down different sections of the map, and it seems to be completely at random. And I really like that kind of system in the game. I really like how this is handled, and I don't know, I just like it better than the edges of the zone closing in to a center point, how it's done in other Battle Royale games. Continuing on, I'll talk a little bit about the upgrades that you can get, as I actually really like these upgrades. The standard upgrades that they give you are faster movement speed, a coat that makes you get cold slower, and like an axe sharpening thing that lets your axe do more damage, as that is your only melee weapon. And I really like those upgrades. You can also switch those out for different upgrades. Everything was given to us in the beginning, but I don't know if that's going to be the way that it is in the future. And to actually play successfully, you can't just go chasing down other players. You actually kind of have to start... upgrading yourself and getting these upgrades, or else towards the end of the game, if somebody has all 5 of their available axe sharpening things, then they're doing 125% more damage than you are. And so you can't really just rush people down, which was kind of a concern of mine in the beginning, because there is only 10 people in each game. Although, granted, I have seen a somewhat successful strategy of people that just run and hunt down one person throughout the beginning of the game, as in the very beginning, everybody starts out equally underpowered, and so you can get those 1 or 2 people that are super aggressive and will start tracking you down and hopefully trying to kill you before you actually get your upgrades going. And this actually segues well into when they actually hunt you down, you have to get into combat. And actually, for the most part, I like combat. I like the way that melee combat is currently. If 2 people swing at the same time and their weapons hit each other, they actually cancel each other out, and you both get knocked back. Speaking of getting knocked back, that's the one thing that I don't like about it. If you're hit by an arrow or something, if you get hit by anything, you are knocked back. If you get hit by an arrow, if you get hit by a melee hit, both of those you get knocked back. Well, I do like it for getting knocked back in melee. If you like hit someone with your shovel, they get knocked back. When it comes to arrows, that is very detrimental, and I think that the reason why they did it was so that the person hitting you couldn't have a quick second shot, but what it ends up doing is reacquiring the target after they've been knocked back is very, very easy, and so it really just kind of hurts. It just hurts the person that got hit in the beginning, and I really hope that they take that out. And actually, the most common way that I've been dying so far is actually being hit by an arrow. I'll get knocked back, and as soon as I hit the ground again, they will have another arrow ready to hit me. And so it's just this loop of get hit, knocked into the air. As soon as I drop down, I get hit again, and I'm not actually able to do anything during this. I'm kind of like in a stun lock, because you can't do anything while you're in the air. So I really hope that they take away the knockback when you get hit by an arrow, but I do like the knockback when you get hit by melee. It kind of resets everything, but another strategy that I've seen that kind of works is getting hit by an axe. You get knocked back, and then the person pulls out their bow to hit you again to knock you back again. If they took out the knockback when you get hit by an arrow, then that strategy wouldn't work anymore, and I just think that it would make fights more interesting overall. I almost forgot to talk about this one final thing, and that is electronics. Now, electronics are kind of like this game's version of an airdrop, as when one drops, anybody that's in the area usually tries to go for them. And going to where a electronic spawns, you get one electronic, which can give you one of three like major abilities. It can either give you invisibility, an invulnerable shield for a little bit, or teleportation, one-time use teleportation. And all three of those are very powerful abilities towards the end, and so I personally like the way that electronics work right now. One of the things I really like is when the electronic drops down and someone tries to go get it. It actually takes them a second to pick up the electronic, and if you hit the electronic with a bow or something, well, with an arrow or something, then it actually knocks back everybody in the area, and I actually really like that, as I've used that. I used that to kill a person one time because an electronic dropped near a cliff that had lava below it, and so a person went up to get the electronic. I hit it with an arrow, and he got knocked off the cliff, and so I actually really like how that's set up right now. But that is pretty much all that I have to talk about the Darwin project right now. I'm really interested to see where this goes in the future. I hope that I'm able to play in one of the betas or one of the later alphas. And when this game comes out, if it's anything like what it is right now, I'm definitely going to be checking it out because I really liked my time in the Darwin project. So that's going to be it for this. Remember, as always, I'm Ryan from Blue Gaming, and I'll see you guys in the next one.